Well, that's an interesting question on a few levels. As a writer, trying to copy or imitate another author is just a recipe for disappointment. I went through a phase in college, I tried to be wry like Salinger, philosophical, or try to capture the manic madness of Hunter S. Thompson, and all that stuff just comes across as ham-handed and immature. It sounds trite, but you really do have to be yourself, and you have to have the confidence in your abilities and the conviction of your thoughts. Otherwise, you'll be lost, and so will your readers. And there's certainly a great deal of influence on my writing. I've done a great deal of reading, so you develop kind of this rushing river of words in your subconscious, and you dip into it from time to time and maybe sample other authors kind of the way musicians do today. You get certain riffs and rhythms. But as for Thunder in the Mountains specifically, the style's all mine. There's certainly some riffs from Hemingway and Steinbeck, especially when it comes to describing the natural world. There's a lot of Vonnegut, jumping back and forth between time and place. And also a lot of Robert Frost, and not just because I have an entire chapter that has the poem Out in its entirety. I think Frost is a very underrated and very misunderstood. He writes intimately about the natural world, trees, seasons, snow, rain, mountains, leaves, and he uses them as metaphors. And so these metaphors can be a really great vehicle to tell deep human stories about everything from conflict to fear of dying to psychological turmoil. And in Frost's world, a tree is never just a tree, snow is never just snow, and a stone wall is never just a stone wall. And that's what I find fascinating about him, and that's kind of what I try to do in my work. The book also owes a big debt, I think, to Truman Capote's In Cold Blood. Of course, it's a book about guns and violence and blood and small towns. And he was a masterful writer who was one of the first to really bring a novelist's toolbox to the job of writing about real events that might not otherwise be as compelling or profound if cloaked only in the facts. And that's really one of the things I really tried to do with Thunder in the Mountains.